Hello, folks. This is Brian, and we're gonna give a little bit of advice today. Our first letter is, will I be a jerk for leaving my new husband for 2.5 months for a personal hobby? And this is from MVDXX. I'm a 27-year-old female about to marry my fiance, a 35-year-old male. Let's call him Jay, in 25 days. Lots of emotions, as you would imagine, but mostly wanting to get it over with, because I've been planning this wedding basically all by myself almost a year now. Anyway, Jay moved to another state for a professional school last June, where he will stay for the next 3.5 years. I plan to move in with him in late March after the honeymoon. So a little bit about me. I'm an amateur self-taught baker. Had a short stint with selling my creations, but now it's mostly for fun and family events. I also was laid off from my full-time job right before Thanksgiving, awesome I know, and have just been planning the wedding, applying to jobs in Jay's state, and preparing for the move since. I recently found out that one of my idol bakers, Amari Gushan, seriously go watch some videos if you aren't familiar, hosts a 10-week-long course in Vegas for about $1,500. This includes course reference material and a tool set all for keeps. Luckily for me, it's only 4 hours from Jay, so it wouldn't be costly to get there and I could potentially come home on the weekends. The only thing is, I'm sort of hung up on finding an affordable place to stay during the week. Jay isn't on board with the idea of me leaving family, aka him, for a hobby for that long, nor does he think the price tag is worth it. He compared it to getting a degree in basket weaving or philosophy. No offense if you have either, he's just very pragmatic. My arguments are 1. It's a temporary leave and short compared to his. 2. I have flexibility at the moment since I am still jobless. 3. It could potentially be lucrative. 4. It's a hobby. I shouldn't have to justify it. 5. His hobbies include gaming, which he has a desktop for. Albeit, he didn't build it just for gaming, and he bought himself a fairly nice piano that he doesn't play regularly. But I should add, he purchased both before we started dating. 6. I would be paying for this course myself and lodging myself. We don't have any joint accounts yet, and I deserve something for myself after planning the bulk of the wedding. So will I be a jerk for leaving my new husband of 2 months for a 10-week course in Vegas for personal enrichment? Well, OP, I'm gonna say congratulations first off on getting married. This is a big time, and it sounds like you've put a lot of energy into it, and it sounds like you're very stressed out. I'm gonna say that you're not the jerk here. I'm gonna give you 0 out of 5 stars, pending on a couple of caveats. First off, it really depends on your financial situation, how you're recovering after the wedding, and whether or not you two feel like you can afford this. While your finances are separate, I do think that you both should, of course, have budgets, and I think you two should figure out what's affordable with inside your budget, and I think that you should figure out how you can afford this. With that out of the way, as long as you're financially stable enough that this is something you can afford, and since it's coming out of money that you earned yourself, I don't think that this should be a problem at all. $1,500 is a lot of money, but it's not as much as maybe some college classes. Novel experiences are more worthwhile than spending your money on possessions anyways, so I think that this is certainly something that you'll benefit from. It seems a little odd that Jay isn't on board with you leaving him for a week, but he left you for months, it sounds like, when he went for his job. This was something he was using to advance his professional career, and when he did it, it didn't seem like a problem, and when you're doing it, it seems like this might be a problem. I would say that his opinion isn't really based in reality. It seems like you've done a lot, you're doing a lot. I don't, again, know what your finances are, and I think that he should allow you to pursue the hobbies and your goals as long as you folks are financially stable enough. And I think that he should be supportive of you in this hobby. You say that this could potentially be lucrative, but again, I don't think that matters if this is a hobby of yours. If you feel like you could learn something from this and that you're going to be a better cook, then I mean, he's going to benefit from that anyways, I would imagine, if you're cooking meals for him. In that respect, I don't really think he has too much grounds to object here. You mentioned that he has expensive hobbies, and I think that's a valid point to point out to him. To kind of avoid friction in the future, what I would do is I would sit down with your husband and set up a budget and set up how much free spending money you folks are allowed to have per month. Consider putting this money into an alternative account where you can keep track of it closely. That way you don't have to worry about overstepping your budget. I think it's important for you to talk to each other so that you can have a better consensus on how to spend your money in the future. Anyhow, good luck, and if you end up going to these cooking classes, I hope you enjoy them. Our next letter is called, Will I Be a Jerk If I Out My Son But Not Really? And this is from Gay Son Throwaway. So I'm on mobile, hence the weird formatting. If it's weird, I don't know. Anyway, I'm a 34-year-old male and I have a beautiful 13-year-old son. His mother isn't in the picture for reasons not important to the story, and I don't feel comfortable sharing anyways. For the purpose of this, let's call him Lane. Lane is my eldest and we're pretty tight. A few days ago, he had a friend over called Mike. I was bringing them the pizza they ordered when I heard Lane telling Mike that, quote, my dad doesn't know we're dating, so he might not be cool. Okay, clearly he didn't want me to know that. So I set the pizza downstairs and tell my daughter Alice to call them. Now I'm bi, I think, myself, but never brought it up. And my son is definitely not straight. Mike's birthday is soon, and I was thinking, I could make like rainbow cupcakes and tell Lane it's for him and Mike. Would I be the jerk if I did this? Well, OP, I would say that you would be a jerk in this case if you did this. And it seems like when I read over your letter, it seems like what you're thinking you are is the cool dad. And you're a little frustrated that your son doesn't trust you with knowing this information. And I think your cupcake display is a way for you to be like cool to your son, when all that's going to happen from this is that you're going to mortify your son. So what I would say that you need to do instead of making cupcakes is sit down and have a heart-to-heart with your son. Tell him that you overheard the conversation with Mike and that you're not trying to pry into his private life and that who he dates is not important to you as long as he's happy. That way he can know that you're supportive and he can know that you're there for him and that you're not judging him. I think that is probably going to be the best way to approach a situation like this. Anyhow, good luck with talking to your son, and I hope that you two develop a closer relationship. Our next letter is, am I a jerk for wanting my wife to make me dinner when she is making it for herself anyways? And this is from Oreo WDM. Since we had a kid, my wife has stopped cooking for us. It's fine. I don't mind cooking some of the time or just making a sandwich, but I don't get out of work until 7, so it was nice to come home to some dinner. Sometimes I'll come home and she's cooking something, but not for me. Last night I got home and she was making scrambled eggs. I asked her in the future if she could make some for me when she makes some for herself, and she said no. She said I could make eggs myself. I know I can make eggs for myself, but adding a few extra eggs to the pan of scrambled eggs only requires about 10% extra effort, whereas having a separate person make a whole other batch takes twice the effort. I articulated this to her and she said she didn't care and that I could make eggs myself. I told her that was a terrible attitude, but if she wants to make my life harder for no reason, she can. She yelled at me and said I'm making my life harder, not her. That doesn't really make any sense. Keep in mind that whenever I make something I intend to eat for myself, I always ask her if she's eaten and if she wants anything. On weekends, I cook for both of us, but it's not really feasible to make anything decent on weekdays. Am I the jerk? So, OP, I think there's a lot of details missing from this story. I can't really say whether you're the jerk or not, but what I will say is that the line, since we had a kid, my wife stopped cooking for us, stood out to me. It seems like the big complicating factor here is that your wife has a kid and that she may not feel like you're helping enough with rearing the child. I don't think she feels like you're pulling your weight. Another thing that kind of stands out to me is that she seems to be cooking when you get home. I don't know if this is intentional to kind of just show you that she's cooking and that she's making something for herself, because it's a little odd that she would not eat, way ahead of time and then sit down and just tell you, oh no, I already ate like hours ago. My guess is that she feels overworked and underappreciated. You should sit down with your wife and try to figure out what's going on. You two should have a heart-to-heart, you should communicate with each other, and you should ask her if there's something that you can do to help her more. Again, I don't know whether you're being the jerk or not here, but again, it does sound like what she has a problem with is the fact that you may not be helping enough out. Anyhow, good luck, and I hope that you can resolve this issue with your wife. Our final letter is titled, Will I Be a Jerk If I Contact the Preschool Director and Ask them to quarantine a family who's currently on vacation in Thailand? And this is from No Chances at All. First time I post here, on mobile. English is not my native language. From the title, you get more or less the whole idea of the post. A family from my son's preschool is currently vacationing in Thailand, which is the second most affected country by the coronavirus. They will be back from their holiday mid-next week, and they will be off till the week after. The coronavirus has an incubation period between 5 and 14 days. Now, I have a very vivid imagination, and I grew up with apocalyptic movies. Plus, I'm expecting my second child, and I feel a bit paranoid about diseases and illnesses in general. In addition, preschools are a hub for germs, bacteria, viruses, and children easily get infected. All of these result in being an explosive mixture for me. So I was thinking of contacting the preschool director and seeing if there's a reason to be worried, and perhaps if they could ask the parents to keep their children from school for a couple of weeks. My partner said I'm crazy and being a hypochondriac. I'm not. And that anyway, the preschool has to follow the state authority guidelines and has no power nor the right to quarantine anyone. But perhaps I could suggest to the director to get some information about this, possibly resulting in the children being not allowed to go to the preschool and the parents not being able to work for a couple of weeks. Too long didn't read. Will I be a jerk if I contact the preschool to check up on a family that is currently in Thailand because of the coronavirus? Alright, OP, if you did this, you would probably be a jerk. 4 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5 here. In times like these, people tend to overreact, and you're certainly not the only person who's overreacting. And you're not the only person who's worried about this. It's fine for you to be concerned. But I think the best thing for you to do right now is wash your hands and teach your children how to wash their hands properly. Your parental instincts here are to protect your child from danger. That's understandable. You're afraid of the threat of sickness and illness and poor health. I certainly understand that. But right now, for everything that we've seen in the news and the media, this doesn't look like it's going to be that bad. It's alright to be prepared and it's alright to be worried, but it's not okay to isolate people because of that fear. Right now, in the US, it doesn't look like there is an immediate threat of this spreading to people. If your friends feel that they were exposed to the coronavirus when they get back, then they probably will isolate themselves anyways. I mean, there's a lot of folks out there who are very responsible and, of course, don't want to make other people sick. And this virus is not a virus that seems super bad. It's not, right now, something that is showing itself to be a particularly bad virus. It's an easily passable virus, it seems like, but it also doesn't seem to be a particularly deadly virus. The virus, I think, right now that people should be more worried about is the flu. Anyhow, I think that you're, again, acting in a panicked way, and I think that you're really worried. And I'm not holding that against you, because there's a lot of people who are really worried. And in time, I think we're going to see that this virus is going to die out pretty rapidly and hopefully not spread too far. Good luck, and I hope that your anxieties about this are alleviated. I know it's no fun to be worried about something like this, but the best you can do is prepare, wash your hands, not rub your eyes, not put your fingers in your mouth, and teach your kids the same. Just good general guidelines for hygiene anyways. Take care and good luck. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. Consider giving me a thumbs up if you think I did a good job. Consider giving me a thumbs down if you think I did a poor job. If you have a letter that you want me to go over, leave it in the comments below or send me a link. Take care and have a good day.